wife, 37F, commutes to work every day. I, 35M, am terrified of her death. I'm at my wit's end. My wife is a biologist who works at a lab in another town. We live in Sao Paulo, Brazil, going through a massive second wave of COVID-19. Her work isn't considered essential, it's testing water samples, but our government doesn't have the balls to promote a full lockdown to prevent people like her from needing to commute. She takes 2 buses and 2 train lines on her way to work and then again on her way back. While she does wear the N95, I see lots and lots of cases of the so-called Brazilian variants of the virus, and we are sitting right at the epicenter of it, with many people still thinking it's bullshit to be masked or to take precautions. I'm scared to death of losing her and myself amidst it all. We have been married for 10+ years now, and we are in our 30s, and watching many more cases of people in our age group dying without any comorbidities. She has had some health troubles in the past, like a case of pneumonia that almost took her life, but she survived. Every day has been a struggle to live through the overwhelming anxiety. I have worked much less than I could because I can't seem to concentrate enough nor have enough will to persevere through the workday. I work from home. I have tried to not put any pressure on her. We don't really need the money from her work desperately, we can manage without it, but I feel like it's unfair to ask her to abandon a job she's enjoying and that might be the only thing making her sane at this moment too. But I don't know. I'm sorry. I just wanted to vent. I feel like crying, but the tears won't come out. I've never been more scared of death in my life than now, and I've suffered from panic disorder since I was 10. I'm a very anxious person and I've been terrified of my partner dying for a few years now. The idea of him dying in a car crash or any other kind of random accident nearly paralyzes me with fear sometimes. Something that helped me very recently was I truly thought about what I would do if that happened. Yes, obviously it would be awful and I would be grieving, but logistically/financially I would also be in a bit of a pickle. So I made a couple of realistic, viable plans for what I would do in that horrible hypothetical, and it kind of calmed me down. I envisioned myself years in the future after it happening and what my life might be like, and it wasn't so bad. Maybe it's weird advice to tell you to just come to peace with the idea that yes, it's a very real possibility. But it helped me. Hey, this is actually one of the most useful advices here. I've always tried to apply the prepare for the worst, then enjoy when it doesn't happen philosophy, but hadn't thought of it in this case till you mentioned it. Seriously, your words may have helped me more than you can perceive through text. I mean, death is inevitable, but we got to imagine our life going on without those we love, as it surely does, for everybody, even if sad and painful. So it's a waste to spend too much time worrying about it happening soon. Edit, I have even saved your comment so I can get back to it whenever needed. Thank you so much, and God bless you and yours with lots of health and good times. Sit down together. Tell her how you feel. Maybe she would like to be home instead of being at risk every day but doesn't know you would be okay with living on one wage. It's such a frustrating place to be. I'm in a place that also refused to acknowledge it, and both my partner and I are essential. While I didn't technically need a job this past summer, I had loans coming due and was just settling into my first post-college place. I ended up working at a daycare where almost no precautions were taken. It was such a complicated decision to make every day going to work, because on one hand I needed the money if I didn't want to be reliant on my parents and partner, and it was also really good for my mental health to be a bit escapist and do something that felt normal. On the other hand, I knew it was not at all a good idea, and it made me uncomfortable to work there and then worry about who may accidentally be exposed via my job, because we weren't really even told as staff if there were cases at our facility. It's all valid concerns and also a mind-boggling decision for your wife. All the best to you both. Hang tight, do what you both can to stay healthy despite it all. I feel your pain, honestly. I live in Santo Andre, right beside Sao Paulo. I'm always worried about my family. My father works with doctors, so he's always going to hospitals. My mom is a teacher. I don't know what to tell you, but seeing your post made me feel so understood. Seeing our country in this situation has gotten me always between anxiety attacks and depression crisis. I believe that, if your wife is wearing a good mask, and if she's following all the proceedings, there's less chances of her getting the virus. But I understand that making yourself believe on this is not easy. Maybe it would help if you started therapy once every 15 days. I honestly don't know how to help, but here's my support for you and your family. 3. Therapy once every 15 days does sound feasible. Thank you so much for being compassionate. Sometimes believe that's a trait that is getting rarer by the day in Brazil. I'm so glad to see I'm wrong. May you and your loved ones face this storm in perfect health and with lots of patience, clarity of mind and hope. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but some time ago I read that the fewer COVID particles someone is exposed to, the less severe the disease. So if she's wearing a good mask like the N95, even if she does get sick, she's much less likely to end up in hospital or dead. I hope this helps, but I do think therapy might help you, too. My world collapsed last night. Is there any hope? My husband of almost 13 years, together for 15, confessed last night that while he loves me, he doesn't think he's been in love with me for years now. And there was a brief affair about 3 years ago, before we had our son. That hurts, but I could forgive and move on. But it's beyond that decision, and he isn't even sure right now if he wants to try. I love him just as much now as when we married. He says he loves me and cares for me and has been stuffing his feelings down so he wouldn't hurt me. But he reached a breaking point. We get along great, we love spending time together, and we love being parents. I am just so blindsided by this. Is there hope? I asked him to please not give up yet, that we can fight for this and rekindle what we had. I think we just got caught up in life and planning for the future, that we forgot to stay connected and got complacent. I am living my worst nightmare. I know the feeling. My wife and I, having been living in the shadows of what used to be. The best advice I got was learn to communicate with each other. Although it's rough, just talking will help. Understand one another and come together to fix any problem. It's not about forgiving and forgetting. It's about learning to move past it. Whatever happened in the past can't be changed, so ask for forgiveness and move on. The idea of being in love versus actually being in love plagues us all at some point in our lives. You and him can work to show each other how much you love each other and not just need each other because we're afraid of being alone. Hope this helps. Person shrugging, olive skin. I honestly believe if he's willing to try, we can find what we lost. This is so new and I am giving him space, but I can't give up yet. We work so well together, I really don't know what happened. I want you to do something incredibly hard. I want you to let go of the results. You've stated how you feel. He knows. You are doing your best. Do something nice for yourself. Be with yourself in a park or a garden nursery for a couple hours around green growing things. You will still be you if this doesn't work out, and it sounds like you will have a capable co-parent and friend. Relationships do cycle, and it sounds that he should have said this years ago and gotten therapy. It sounds like you both have been busy, rightly so, with your child. It sounds like you need to breathe and eat a sweet thing you love and hug yourself and accept a hug from me. You are not defined by what he chooses. You are yourself. You are going to do your best to glow like a bright star. For counseling, say that if he can go to counseling and give it a real go, you can accept him as he is, and if he can't rekindle it, you won't be his jailer. It will be hard, but if it doesn't work out, cheer him on, be his friend and co-parent, and live. Live with dignity. Sounds like how you have been living. My older sister accepted a loveless marriage, and she nearly drank herself to death. This isn't hell. It's just hard. Last year my wife and I hit this point. I started a new career in a company that's 10x the size of the one I came from and felt overwhelmed with my new job. Our son was also born 4 days after I started my new job, and we had just moved into our new home. I didn't see how much our marriage had strained over the years and felt completely blindsided when she asked me if I still loved her, and my answer was no. I didn't even realize that I had gotten to that point because I always felt like I needed to be the provider, so I was completely consumed by my career and accepted a job I hated because it would provide so much more for my family, repressing myself and my feelings because I didn't want to bother her with them. That's just the way I've always been. We had long conversations conversations and long fights for weeks. We ended up splitting apart until our friends got us together in a room and made us talk. A lot of feelings were revealed and we learned that there were aspects of our lives that consumed our time that was meant for each other. It was the most awkward, painful and embarrassing moment in my life, and I never knew exactly how much I repressed and bottled up. After those conversations we both learned what we felt was missing and started to work on them together. It took a long time and awkward conversations to get there, but we got there. The key is communication, always communication. Talk to him and find out what he feels is missing, and he might be surprised himself when he finally says it. It won't be fun, trust me, but it will be the best way to get to the root. I can't imagine the pain you must be feeling right now. I am sending love and peace your way. I, 25M, am married but I still feel like my mother's son. Too long didn't read. I asked my mom to leave our home after she was disrespectful to my partner. I've been married for almost 1 year and we have a 2-year-old daughter. I was raised in a very Catholic household and I'm the oldest of 5, 23F, 20F, 19M, 16M. My parents' most fundamental rule was no premarital sex, and I obviously blew that one out of the water. I turned into the prodigal son of the family when I didn't marry my then girlfriend as soon as I knew she, 25F, was pregnant, but still got an apartment with her and waited until after I was sure we were ready to propose. My family is Mexican and hers is Vietnamese, so she's in similarly hot water with them. We were both born and raised here in the States. We met in college. We're by no means rolling in it, but last year we decided together that being a stay-at-home mom would be best for our situation, and I think she's exceptional. After a carjacking last year, she suffered a head injury. She struggles with PTSD and sudden loud noises. She's in therapy. Our daughter is happy. I don't expect her to treat me like a second child, and she usually makes dinner, but I can fend for myself when I get home if not. I like our life. My mom came over today to visit, to see our daughter, and she had a lot to say about the state of our apartment. It was by no means messy, and I don't think most people would think to call CPS, but our daughter's toys were on the floor in the living room and the laundry was still on the couch. She was in the middle of folding when my mom came over, but she stopped when my mom got there. My mom made a point of looking around and asked me what she does at home all day in Spanish. My mom's English is just fine, but my wife's Spanish is not that great, so I told her to stop it in English. My mom, did this thing where she purses her lips when she's upset. She asked my mom if she would like something to drink and my mom said no, thank you. We're sitting, talking, my mom is playing with our daughter on her lap, and she asked the same question to my wife, this time in English, and also asked what she was cooking for dinner and suggested that she'd better be getting started soon. We were both so shocked and I asked her again to stop. Tuesdays usually means spaghetti, but that's not the point. My mom told her she had to be more organized than this if she was going to stay home, and then pointed toward the laundry on the couch. My wife started to explain that it was a hectic day and daylight savings, and after I recovered from the shock I asked my mom to leave, at which point she got really loud and told me I was being disrespectful to her. My wife took our daughter into her bedroom, and maybe 10 minutes of me trying to explain why her behavior was bad later, she left. I apologized to her for my mom's behavior and she seemed okay. My question is, has anyone ever struggled with separating themselves from their parents as a married adult, and how did you get over it? In my head I think it was the right thing to do, but still feel very guilty because she is my mom and my elder, and I feel like I did the unthinkable by actually kicking her out.